formulate this principle. When a nun assimilates, what really happens? What does it become? It shows up, this is the general rule that would work whenever a nun assimilates. The nun assimilates and becomes a dagesh forte in the next letter. Now I told you what's really happening. It's becoming the next letter, and then you're getting two letters that are written as one with dagesh forte. But you can almost skip the intermediate step and simply learn the principle that when nuns assimilate, they show up, they disappear and reappear as a dagesh forte in the next letter. We will see this happening in other situations in the language as nuns assimilate rather consistently. Now, here's the real problem. You come to a word like this, and it looks a little weird, right? Let's run the rule backwards, okay? Here you see a verb form, nathata. You might recognize that there's like a ta ending here, and you're going, oh yeah, I learned that ta ending. That should be second singular masculine. But how many root letters do I have? By the book, you should have how many root letters? 3. How many do you see? 2. Now I'll ask the next question. But, how many letters are there? There are 4 letters here. There's a nun, there's a tau, there's a tau as a dagesh, and there's another tau, right? So you could just assume that there's an extra tau there, and that the word, if theoretically we had it written out with all the letters there, is in fact a 3-letter root plus the ta ending, right? In which case you would conclude that the verbal root of this word is nathath, correct? And you'd be 100% logical here. There's nothing wrong with your thinking. And theoretically there could be a verb, nathath, okay? However, what's really happened here, and you might even not even know this until you looked up nathath in a lexicon and found out it isn't there. See? And you're kind of going, now what do? I got to figure out something else. So you go to plan B. And here again, sort of cutting to the bottom line, what's really going on here? This dagesh is not masking another tau, but this dagesh is simply masking an assimilated nun. In your mind, or even on paper, if it helps, you can then, once you've sort of unpacked this dagesh forte into a nun followed by the other letter that's there, you can reproduce the other letters that are in the word and come back to nathanta, which now you should recognize as what is really a regular verb form. See, again, this isn't really irregular. It's just a little sleight of hand. It's regular with a twist.
Is the dagesh forte always going to be with the final consonant, or can there be something else happening after that it's not always the last thing in the word?
It will always be the final consonant of the pair, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, this doesn't necessarily happen only at the end of the word. In this case, yes. Well, what about this form? Here, I'll illustrate your point. Write this the way Hebrew would actually write it. All right, what's this verb form? Nithantem, right? Now what's going to happen here? You got a nun schwa, that's going to assimilate. Again, sort of cutting to the bottom line, when a nun assimilates, it disappears and shows up in the next letter as a dagesh forte. That's kind of saying the bottom line of what's happening here, even though you know it's a little trickier than that. So that this form is going to appear as this. Nithatem. See what's going on? And you're going to see this and go, what's going on here? Well, answer is, do you see the ending tem? Yes. Now you're looking for a verbal root that should have how many root letters? 3. Well, here's 1, here's 2. Where's the third root letter? It's the dagesh forte, which is masking your nun. So the root is, in fact, Nathan, and now you're home free. Comment? Yeah.
Now, the first thing that should, when you see this form, the first thing you should notice is that you've got a dagesh following a letter following a vowel. Okay. You've got a pathak there. You can't, I mean, so that's going to, I mean, it's not, you know, this isn't dagesh landing a begachapap letter. There's something else happening there. So when you get the dagesh following a vowel like that, you know, that should immediately, you know, trip a signal in your mind that says something goofy here.
Right.
So, you know.
See, essentially, you're asking the question, and this is always important. The minute you see a dagesh, what's your first question?